Hi folks, I'm Jesse Elaine, and today we're continuing our exploration of the importance of blues for guitar. Now in this particular series I'm really focusing on training you as to how to play chord, melody, and improvised melodic line playing. If you don't have a good understanding of the 12-bar blues, and if you don't have a good understanding of basic improvisation over those types of chords, then I suggest that you do a little review, look at some of the other videos I've put up, and then come back to this one, because some of it might be a little bit much theoretically, so to speak. So we're going to dive right in. I'm not going to explain too much about the chords because I already did that in the last video. So I'm just going to show you what I'm doing. The whole time, the real trick is to be hearing those changes in your head. So until you've got the changes down that you're deciding to play over and interject melodic lines in between chords, until you get that down, it's not going to work. So you have to do that first, and you have to be able to hear it in your head. That's a whole nother video in itself about how to hear things in your head, but really just playing it a million times and not losing track of where you are by getting distracted by your own lines that you're playing is really how I would best describe that process. Anyway, here's an example. I'm just going to dive right in. It's not going to be exactly what I did before because I don't know what I did before. I was making it up as I went along. So you have, here's that chord thing. Just going to dive right in. So let's dissect that. So play the bass note. So then you get back to that chord. So essentially what I'm doing there is the amount of time I generally play that chord, I'm putting in a line, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then same thing. Another chord. So listen to where I'm putting the lines. I skipped it. I'm going to skip this. Those are just attached right into the chord. There's nothing fancy going on there. That's one advantage of using a chromatic vamp type chord progression for your blues, is that you have more movement already, so you don't have to rely on playing all these fancy lines because your chords are already generating those lines for you. So partly probably why I did that inadvertently is because I knew that it would give me some more interesting things to play over, rather than if you just played a straight blues. So I'll do that. So 3, 4. So that's something different. With the chromatic idea, you have all this built-in movement from just right around the chord, so it's a little bit easier to do. What I was doing there, you're moving around a little bit more. There's more stuff going on harmonically as well, meaning you have to think of more lines based on separate chords than you did in the previous chromatic example. So I was trying to use very straight stuff for those chords. Basically, this series of chords, the A flat to A to G thing, that's mostly minor pentatonic. Okay, it's Dorian, I guess. So that's the melodic material that you could draw from. This one, that's actually basically the same. Then I'm kind of thinking of, I'm not really thinking of those chromatic chords as anything different. They're so quick and in passing that you can almost just play the initial scale that you played for that D flat, because remember, we're really thinking of a 1, 4, 5. So you can basically play that same melodic area of activity over those 3 chords totally. But I had done some stuff where I'm basically playing melodic lines or from chord extensions. Because it's easy and it's there and it sounds right. So another way to think of it. And then over that E flat 7, sharp 9, sharp 5. So E flat 9, yeah, E flat 7, sharp 9, sharp 5. So anytime you've got a dominant chord, which is this, with a sharp 5, it is a good candidate for some whole tone scale material. I don't want to bring up the controversy about whole tone scales. We don't have time for it. So it sounds right over this, so I'm just using it, and that's my philosophy. Just works. And that flat 5 actually works over it too. Or that works over the flat 5 and flat 9 idea too. So you can use those as your general way of making things up for this particular blues. As far as the lines themselves, those are things that if you're at this point in your playing, you should probably be able to come up with some of those on your own. Do them very simply at first though. Do things like this. Like, give yourself a limited window. Only that. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, go figure. That whole tone scale based on an A works over this A flat dominant thing, right? Go figure. See if it works. It's getting to the point where it's overused, obviously. Yeah, at that point you want to hear. That's the thing with whole tone. That's where all the controversy comes about, because so many people just play the you know what out of that scale, and it just sounds like exercises after a while. But anyway, try that. You know, work on basic blues, 12-bar pattern. If you don't like my chromatic thing, you can do your own thing, obviously, and put in your own melodic lines in between. Even start really simple. Play the same melodic line in between the chords. Don't even change the melodic line. So here's another example. Just play a blues. 2, 3, 4 on the second. You know, so you can do that, and you can make your own chord, melody, and accompaniment improvisations. Helpful hint: if you want to hear a master of that style, and partially where I've got my concepts from, listen to Kenny Burrell in his trio settings. He's a master of that. He's very subtle with his chords and his lines, but boy, it just works so well. Kenny Burrell. Listen to his playing. But anyways, if you have any questions on this stuff, let me know, and we'll see you next time. Have fun.